Hi, and welcome back to me talking about whatever I want. Today, I'm here to defend the movie Shrek with my entire life. I feel like it comes as no surprise that I would feel very strongly about this film. As you can see, I'm wearing half of a Lord Farquaad cosplay. The rest of it hasn't come. I haven't made the proper modifications yet. But a lot of people would say that this is not the biggest news or it's not super important. But I really think this is a matter of life or death, okay? The beloved fan favorite film Shrek is now under attack on its 20th anniversary, no less. Did I plan my cosplay for the 20th anniversary of Shrek? No, I had no idea that was happening. I woke up and saw that this Guardian article was trending. Shrek at 20, an unfunny and overrated low for blockbuster animation. The Fairytale comedy was a hit with critics and audiences, but its toilet humor, glibness, and shoddy animation mark it out as a misfire. It's not like I've ever expected, like, I don't know, hard-hitting journalism from The Guardian, but I literally never thought of them as the kind of publication that's just gonna spread lies. To just go on the internet and lie to everyone is incredibly disturbing and disappointing. But before we get into that, let's get into today's sponsor, Current. Current is the best of banking minus the annoying bit. Sending money, free. Depositing checks, you can do that with your phone camera. Withdrawing from ATMs, they have over 55,000. All of this is without ever having to make a trip to a physical bank. And because of that, everything is so much faster. You can get paid up to 2 days faster. You can get refunds on gas station holds instantly. You also have free overdraft protection up to $100, and there's no minimum balances or hidden fees. You can also get points on purchases, which you can redeem for cash. Current is for everybody. It works with Cash App, Venmo, Google Pay, Apple Pay. You can create an account even if you're under 18. Creating said account takes about 2 minutes, and once you're done, you get this very fancy Current Black card. So basically, go to the link in my description and get started. Sign up for your own Current Black Premium card today at current.com/DLO. It says The Guardian for 200 years. This 200th year will be your last. I'll make sure of it. As if the title was not slander enough, I'm reading this because I actually think it's funny that this person is trying to make an argument that retroactively the film has become bad. Even though, as it says right here, it was a hit with critics and audiences. This makes no sense. It's a good movie. Like, it's funny and the animation is not bad, but let's see what they have to say. So here we have an image of the film and it says the appeal of Shrek and Donkey's buddy chemistry was stronger than might have been expected. So it starts off with Shrek has an outhouse with a working toilet. It's not part of the film's cynical brand of irreverence that an ogre's latrine is supported by modern plumbing, and it's certainly not consistent with the hygiene of a swamp dwelling beast who bathes in mud. But after our lime green hero literally wipes with the fairy tale ending, it was apparently decided that the film needed an emphatic flushing sound before the Smash Mouth single All-Star kicked in and the introductory montage could commence. 20 years later, that flushing sound seems to signify the moment when blockbuster animation circled the drain. We're not just here to slander Shrek, okay? We have metaphors. Okay, we're getting a bit artsy in this review. This is critique, okay? This is not just criticism. I hate it here. Shrek is a terrible movie. It's not funny. It looks awful. It would influence many unfunny, awful looking computer animated comedies that copied its formula of glib self-reference and sickly sweet sentimentality. 3 of those terrible movies were sequels to Shrek, and one was a spin-off with the sequel in the works. The curse has eased but not lifted. So now we have gone from not just Shrek is a terrible movie, but Shrek 2, the greatest film of all time. The film that Martin Scorsese explicitly listed as a reference for not 3, but 4 of his most iconic films. The one that Alfred Hitchcock, people speculate, wrote the script for, and it was lost in the annals of time and was found and remade into Shrek 2, is now also a bad movie. After flailing in its early efforts to keep up with Disney, DreamWorks had finally hit pay dirt, raising the possibility that it might become a viable challenger to established major studios. So basically what I'm getting from this is that they're jealous. Shrek was popular and you're mad. Sorry that the film was critically acclaimed because it was good. I don't see how that's anyone's fault or something that we need to bring up. 20 years later, no film review you've ever published, and this is not even your fault, will ever be on the level of just the opening sequence of Shrek itself. It's hard to account for why Shrek hit the cultural moment as squarely as it did, other than, you know, people seem to enjoy it, or why it will be celebrated in 20th anniversary pieces other than this one. This is kind of going far, even for me. I don't usually say things like this. I hope whoever wrote this plugs their phone in tonight and they think it's charging, and then they wake up and the brick wasn't plugged into the wall. I know that's a really disgusting thing to say. That's very, very harsh, but I said it. But it's worth pointing out how comprehensively bad its legacy remains, opening up the floodgates for other major studios to pile celebrities into recording booths, feed them committee-polished one-liners, and put those lines in the mouths of sassy CGI animals or humanish residents of the Uncanny Valley. He's literally explaining why it's good. He literally just said it was full of good actors, and it was funny, and it was quirky. This kind of sounded almost like he wanted to add on some Madagascar slander just for the extra sauce, but that he couldn't bring himself to do that. Worse than that, it encouraged a destructive, know-it-all attitude towards the classics that made any earnest engagement with them seem like a waste of time. Those once upon a times were now rendered stodgy and lame, literally toilet paper. Okay, see, now this is a part where unironically I have an issue with this. This person is literally implying, and I don't feel like I'm putting words in their mouth, that classic fairy tales are so classic we can't do modern versions of them, and we can't laugh at them, and we can't treat them irreverently for a joke. I don't really think anything should be off limits, okay, for parody, and for the most part it's not. But this implication that Shrek is not good enough to be about fairy tales is bothering me. Chiefly a flatulent ogre voiced by Mike Myers, who deploys the same accent that carried him through the All Things Scottish sketches on Saturday Night Live. Myers was only just past peak of his popularity when he replaced fellow SNL alum Chris Farley as Shrek, still riding high off 2 hit Austin Powers movies, and still powerful enough to get DreamWorks to shrug its shoulders over allowing him to redo the part in Scottish. Why is he so mad? For years, Shrek had seemed like a disaster in the making. Writers assigned to polish up the script likened it to the Gulag, but the conceptual hook of its fairy tale universe, combined with the buddy chemistry of Myers and Eddie Murphy as Donkey, and Cameron Diaz as Fiona, and Up for Anything Damsel in Distress, was stronger than they could have realized. He literally just said that Mike Myers came in, completely transformed Shrek's character, taking it from a boring movie into something that is turned into a classic. He's literally explaining that the character relationships between the main cast are entertaining and are why people like the movie. I'm very confused. I'm sorry that Shrek had an accent. The roadmap for Shrek had already been drawn years earlier with The Princess Bride, a fractured fairy tale that found the right balance between knowing gently absurdist plays on storybook tradition and the sincere affirmation of their power. I hate to break this to you, but the Brothers Grimm is not the Bible. Okay, I don't know why he's acting like fairy tales are literally sacred. They're not real. There's even a scene in Shrek that nods to the torture machine in the earlier film, with the evil Lord Farquaad, John Lithgow, working over the gingerbread man for information. But the balance in Shrek is off on both ends. There's an excess of anachronisms and buddy movie riffs from Myers and Murphy that have little relation to the backdrop, and the woe is me soppiness to the love story between 2 lonely, misunderstood freaks. What do we do? What do we do? Where do we go from here? This was a children's film. Even if this was just like a super clickbaity hate click farm article, which, make no mistake, it is, this was not something that claimed to be some sort of revolution in terms of storytelling. Even I bow before Shrek's impact. Everything great that I've done on this channel, the millions of subscribers and views, that's all great, but I did it for a reason, so that one day I would be as iconic as this. Okay? It's pretty simple. I feel like like somebody harmed him. Oh my gosh. Anyways, the most curious element of Shrek is how uninterested it seems to be in the fairy tale universe it creates. In recent years, as studios have merged and brands have been further reinforced, we've seen plenty of eagerness for companies to trot out their IP, Hello Space Jam: A New Legacy. But there is much greater promise in a film that's about fairy tale favorites under threat, from nursery rhymes to the Brothers Grimm. Some of these creatures are assembled in mass detentions by Lord Farquaad, who exiles them to Shrek Swamp, and Princess Fiona's dilemma, imprisoned in the dragon-guarded castle tower we call Sleeping Beauty. You know what this is giving me? This guy has the vibe of the people who watch the Joker film with Joaquin Phoenix and say Joker was he's the hero. He's the one that we should be empathizing with. This person who wrote this definitely watched Shrek and said Lord Farquaad was in the right. How dare they treat him so poorly? I hate this movie. Once Shrek and Donkey cross the kingdom on a quest to bring Fiona to Farquaad, the storybook references are all but abandoned. Even when Robin Hood and his merry men appear in the woods, the film blows past that boring old mythos in order to pay homage to the Matrix and Riverdance. Because the film started off making fun of fairy tales and making a bunch of fairy tale references, you're not allowed to make references to any other media, is what I'm getting from this. I don't how is it a problem? Yeah, the movie's really silly. Yes, the movie takes beloved fairy tales and it runs them through the mud for the sake of comedy, and it absolutely destroys the original points of those fairy tales. That's why it's funny. What's left is an all ages film that's somehow more crude and juvenile in its appeals to adults than children. The grown-ups in the room can snicker knowingly at Farquaad's name and repeated references to okay, there we go, his size, while the kids are left with fart jokes and the wanton diminishment of timeless characters and stories. Last year, the National Film Registry added Shrek to the Library of Congress, which seals its canonization. I don't know how to say that, but it's remarkable how much of an early aughts relic it's become, an amber preserved monument to phenomena that hasn't stood the test of time. This man just said they added it to the Library of Congress because of how good of a representation it was of the period in which it came out. And that's bad. This is like complaining that someone put something in a time capsule. Even the film's referential style looks resolutely slow and unhip next to the whirring pop Cuisinarts of Lord and Miller Productions, like the Lego Movie and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, or IP-heavy Disney fare like Wreck-It Ralph and its sequel. Because movies came out 15 through 20 years later that did a better job, in his opinion, even though everyone liked Shrek at the time, Shrek is bad. In the end, Shrek didn't save DreamWorks for selling itself off a few years later. It didn't extend Meyer's career past a hard expiration date, and Katzenberg went on to found Quibi. The entire enterprise is better left in the past. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this was even more slanderous than I could have anticipated. Scott Tobias, more like Scott Too Biased, he posted this on his Twitter, and he was basically like, I'm told that my argument here is so persuasive that Shrek has been removed from the National Film Registry and reclassified as culturally insignificant. I'm sorry this film could not survive my dissent. He's like, oh yeah, I'm mad, but the film's still popular, so why are you mad at me for calling it bad? He also went on to make the joke that he did this specifically for hate clicks. Behind the scenes of the hate click factory, Shrek at 20. Any interest? Yes, though with the proviso that I'm not a big fan of the film. Is that okay? Sure, that's fine. Haha, my guy. But your review was still terrible, okay? People started going off. As they should. Someone said this is the most disgusting headline I've ever seen. I have to agree. Someone coming for Shrek on its 20th anniversary for no reason is disgusting. Someone said whoever wrote this, I will fight you in real life. I too volunteer to fight Scott Tobias in real life in Minecraft. Can you even call yourself a journalist if your job that day was to literally just make people mad? If he had provided actual criticism of the film, I would be all too happy to hold this up as the journalistic masterpiece that he seems to think it is. It's a 0 out of 10 on the journalism scale for me. Delete before I lock you away in a tower surrounded by a dragon. He might deserve it. Temporarily, of course. You know, defund the prison industrial complex. But for now, He might have to spend a day or two locked up in Princess Fiona's situation just so we can learn some gosh darn empathy. This guy must be fun at parties. This is the driest article I have ever read on stream in a YouTube video, and that's saying a lot because I've been doing this for a couple of years now. Okay, well, this one says The Guardian should be canceled. Let's not cancel The Guardian. They're doing it themselves with this article. My position on freedom of speech has been thoroughly challenged. You're free to say whatever you want. Should you, though, is an entirely different question. Did Lord Farquaad write this? Kind of pointing to my earlier point of maybe this is a person who just relates to the antagonist of this film more than anything. Obviously, I don't want this person canceled. Keep writing your articles. That's cool. But don't ever review a film ever again. I wish you the best of luck in your career at The Guardian. I'm sure they're going to keep you because they're probably getting more press today than they've gotten in the past 200 years. Shrek says you're welcome. But don't ever tackle the films again, okay? You forfeited your right to have opinions on cinema. I've met people online who don't like Shrek, and I'm like, that's fine. You don't have to like the film. I just did what any normal person would do in that situation, and I blocked them. They just clearly should not be in the same space as I if they don't recognize this film for the cinematic masterpiece that it is. Someone said we can slander Teletubbies. They were traumatizing. I'm fine with Teletubby slander because that literally scared me as a child. Let me go off on a little tangent here. They were so scary for no reason. I can't tell if it was their eyes or the way they were standing or like the fact that they have like baby faces but they look like the size of grown adults, but something about the Teletubbies was deeply off. This is what I'm referring to. They have a cute factor to them, but therein lies the problem. They look like you turn around and they'll have a knife. Anyway, my final opinion on all of this is Shrek is love. Shrek is life, but not like that. Get your mind out the gutter. Anyway, I'll be here all week, folks, at 2 p.m. Central Time. If it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, that means I'm uploading a new video here. If it's Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, that means I'm going live over on Twitch. So basically what I'm trying to say is I'll see you tomorrow. Unless, of course, tomorrow is Sunday, in which case, just watch this video again. And as you can see from the Twitch chat, everything is a great time here on the stream. Everyone has fun. And most importantly, nobody's being held hostage. I'm not sure why that keeps coming up. As you can see, it's not true. Anyway, see you next time. Okay, bye.